Hello everybody, I am Abingdon Mullen and you're watching the Abingdon Co channel where we go on adventures with adventurous women. This video is a little bit different because as adventurous as I feel watchmaking is and watch repair, this is kind of more of a technical side of what we do at the Abingdon Company and what I like to do just to make sure that I'm aware with any company issues, customer issues, product issues, things like that. So what we're doing today is we are going to go through a few customers' watches for watch repair. Before we start today, what I'm really proud of and kind of excited about, you probably have seen in our previous video, shotgun mini golf. And the first one, I cannot believe that this actually happened, but I won my own tournament. And I did not mean to, so I just want to put the air out there. The game was not rigged. The girls are calling me Comeback Kid. If you watch the video, then you'll definitely see that I was missing. I was missing all of the clays, which is funny because out of everybody that was there, I was the only one who has actually done that course before and shot skeet. I only did it like a few months ago. So it's a lot of fun. We went out to Boulder City, but I wanted to show you up close and personal my belt. This is amazing, and it is the Heavyweight Champion Ultimate Shotgun Mini Golf belt, and it's super heavy. It was just so much fun. We had such a blast. So I just want to share that with you that it was 100% luck. I was not trying to save it to the end. I was not trying to do anything other than just have a good time. And I was really kind of hoping somebody else would win. But right at the end when Jill and I tied it up and then it was a sudden death, you'll have to watch the episode to see how we did a sudden death with shotguns. I guess my competitive streak came over me and I was like, well, if it's her and I, then I'm doing it. Had a ton of fun, and we will be doing more shotgun mini golf tournaments. So there will be a chance, because as you can see, like we haven't even put the name yet on the first slot here, but this is where my name will go, and then we've got room for 3 champions on this side and room for 3 champions on this side. So this was super fun, totally had a blast. Everybody was just absolutely loving the day. It was gorgeous out there in Boulder City, and you'll have to stay tuned to see who gets the next one after this, because I don't know, I guess I'm coming in as reigning champ. Totally threw me for a loop, but hey, what can I say? So anyway, let me put that back and let's get to watch repair. I totally just cut myself. Okay, so if that starts bleeding, I'm gonna have to go get a bandage. So the note, yeah, so it looks like maybe a reattachment of an hour marking. So they did send it in their own box, which is great. Put that aside, and look at that. I can't believe it. I totally just cut my finger opening a box. Back in business. Sweet. Okay. Ooh. Jackie Seaplane Green. I love this watch. Let's do this. I definitely see that the hour marking is floating down here, and you can see the 2 dots where it is set in. So typically when you have an hour marking that has been removed, it's usually because some type of blunt trauma happened to the watch at some point. Maybe they banged it on a doorway or a table, or they dropped it, something like that. But one of the most important things to do is to pull the crown out, especially if it's something like the date box, because the date box is a square, and I have seen them wrapped around the hands. When the hands are just moving, it like catches it, and then it can do damage to the movement. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the crown out 2 times just to stop the watch. Actually, before I do that, let me just see if the battery is in good shape. I am seeing the battery move, but it stepped backwards before it stepped forward. I don't know if you guys know that. It typically means that a brand new battery was just put in. So let me take a look at where it resets. Yeah, see how it reset before the 12? It like did that step back. So it's a pretty easy fix. All you want to do is just pull it out 2 clicks and then set it back to 12. It's almost like it's either before 12 or after. Let me try this. If I hold down the start button, I can quickly move it all the way around. Okay, so one thing I'm kind of noticing is that it's either right before the 60 or right after the 60, or if you say 0, right before the 0 or right after the 0. So that's something I'm probably gonna have our watchmaker look at, but it's more or less set up on point. So, all right, that is done. So now let me go to our checklist and start filling it out. So, customer initials, watch style, Jackie, seaplane, green. So first thing, a clean watch. All right, so let's wipe it down. So this is our old style of band, and one of the things that you'll notice is we have this diagram put here, and the reason we do that is because we'll always separate the band by the buckle where it's at. Very simple to do, just take a pair of pointy pliers and you can poke it in. For those of you that change where the position of this pin sits in the summer months or the spring months, there is a video tutorial on how to move it in and out because our wrists do swell for the summer. So you check out that video and see how to do that. And honestly, I do it with like an earring post. You don't need these type of pliers, but they do help. Anything that's pointy. So that was on the very end. So I circle that so that when we put the watch back together, we know to put it back in the right spot. We also never go off of the 2, we always go off of the 4. So that's why I have that there. All right, let's get that pin out. And this watch too is in really, really nice shape. So I'll give it a squirt, give it some cleaning, and get my glove on. Okay, so cleaning has been done. Next thing we're gonna do is change the battery. I can't guarantee that this battery was changed before, even though it acted like it did when I did the stopwatch test. Given that every watch that comes into our repair always gets a free battery change, I'm just gonna go ahead and get that battery change done. Take a look. Okay, so, interesting. So under here it says TAC 1119, which was only just a couple months ago. That is us, the Abingdon Co. One thing I am noticing though is the gasket. It does look like it was re-lubricated, and I'm wondering though if it was set in. It didn't pinch or anything, but I'm gonna set it back in its groove. If this battery was just changed 1119, I do not need to touch it. It is a good battery. It's only 2 months old. So there it is in its groove. I'm gonna put this case back on, and we're gonna tighten it up. So intake first, and then so battery's done. TAC 1119, which means that there was a last repair. I'm gonna check out what that repair was, and we'll see if the two are related. Do a quality control of the watch. Other than the hour marking removed, it looks in great shape. Opening it up, doesn't seem to be any issues, and given that this watch was sent in back in November, it's safe to say that all of these things were already done. I'll go ahead and confirm them later on. Now, we do warranty all of our repair work within 90 days. So though these two might not be related, if since this has definitely been within the 90 days, the shipping is waived. So I can already say that. So did they send it in their own box? Yes, they did. And it was the blue box. Our white box is a round one. We'll have to send Watch Evil number 2 to let them know that we did receive their watch, and then we're going to complete a repair ticket. So reattaching hour markings or date frames or anything like that is something done by our professional watchmaker. Totally out of my expertise. So I'm going to grab a ticket and fill it out. And then if one came off, it could be a combination of several things. Like I said before, the blunt trauma. It could be too that this watch is many, many, many years old, and though we do have the two holes that the hour marking sits in, the two posts, it's also held on by glue. That glue may have dried. So our watchmaker is going to inspect every hour marking to make sure that none of the other ones are dried out as well, that they don't come off either. The last thing we want to do is ship this watch back and have it come right immediately back with another hour marking that has been dislodged. So they'll take like a wooden toothpick, something that is not metal, not scratching the pearl dial, and they'll just gently put a little bit of pressure on each hour marking and make sure that everything is fixed. Same thing for the logo in the center and the number 12. Ticket number 1427, I'll write that up there. We just use Ziploc bags, keep everything in there, and then we'll send that to our watchmaker tomorrow. So 1427, and given that it is a warranty work, I'm going to fill this in. They will not be invoiced and they will not have to pay anything. So that's our indicator that once this is all done, we can just ship it out. Great, this one is done. On to the next. Let's take a look at what the issue is. Please replace the battery and the band of the watch with the same white band. I'm assuming it's the battery as the clock just stopped. Okay, well, that sounds pretty simple. I am all over this. Let's first get out our checklist, as we do, as good watchmakers do. Watch style, this is an Amelia Cloud White. Leather band. Alright, clean watch. It looks actually in really nice clean shape. It's not going to be a lot to do. Take the band off. Yeah, it's a bit grimy in there, a bit grimy in there. That's pretty usual. But overall, this is looking good. So it looks pretty light. Be as gentle as possible, and lint rags or microfiber rags are crevasse. Okay, good. That's good. Not even really that fine of scratches on it. So great, that looks very nice. Okay, I'm going to put the band back on to change the battery because I am going to use the band as leverage in my hand when I take the case back off. A lot of people will mount the case back in like a case back holder, and I feel like I have a better control when I'm holding it like so. So I put this plastic over it so that in the event that this tool slips, I don't scratch the case back. This is what they call a screw case back because it's just like one giant screw. Loosen it and then you can just hand tighten it, or hand loosen it the rest of the way. I'm going to be very careful because you always get things that get caught in the thread when you open a watch, so I never try to speak over a movement. I don't want anything coming out of my mouth to get into the movement, so I'm going to wipe this down, and it doesn't look like we've changed the battery, or else we would have put a note on the underside of the case back. And then as I wipe the debris away, I'm always wiping towards the outside, and that's just to make sure that nothing falls inside and potentially gets into the movement. The movement looks nice. I don't see any rust. I don't see anything floating around. One thing that you can notice is along the gasket you see that there is just a little layer of dirt or whatever the debris might be. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking these tweezers and I'm just going around the groove that the gasket sits in so I can take out that debris. Tweezers are clean. Now for the battery. So for the battery, it's being held by 2 little feet right here, and then this arm. Those are not the technical terms, that's just what I call them. I'm going to kind of have light pressure with a gloved hand down on the battery, and then I'm going to move that arm aside until the battery pops up. And the reason I do that is because I don't need it to just fly all the way out. So, dead battery there, and new battery coming up. Now this one, I don't know why we have an exposed battery in our new battery case. Weird. So I'm just going to move that aside. Whenever you get your battery changed at like a watch repair store or place, the second they open the case back, it exposes the battery to elements. So if you change the battery and then if the watch repair changes the battery and the watch still isn't working, they may still charge you for a battery replacement because they just opened up a battery to use on your watch. It's a good battery, but they're never going to be able to use that battery again in another watch. So don't get mad at the watch repair if they do that. So right now what I'm doing is I'm moving that arm aside, light pressure down. I had to make sure that I was already underneath the 2 feet here, so I kept it in that position and then moved that away and put that down. The crown is actually out right now, so... And I never like to use my fingers to touch anything inside the movement. I don't want oil, dirt, grime, or anything from my hands to get inside the movement. We're going to take a look at that in a second, but as we do with all battery changes that come through the house here, we'll put on the back TAC for the Abingdon Co, and then the month and the year. And that way if this watch ever came back again, then we can open that up and be like, huh, look at that, just had a battery replaced not that long ago. Hand tighten for now. We work. Cool. I'm going to rotate the hour hand all the way around, and the reason I do that is I'm watching the date, because I want to see now, the date didn't change and we just passed 12, so what does that mean? It means now we're in the afternoon hours. Afternoon to evening, we were just in the morning hours. My Zulu time, I am not wearing a Zulu watch. Well, what am I saying? I know how to calculate Zulu. I don't need a phone. I really like this Ronda movement. It's very reliable. We use a Swiss Ronda movement, and it's a dual time movement, so that red arrow is that second time zone. We've got 24 hours printed on red. The way you calculate Zulu from where we're located in Las Vegas, adding 8 hours, I take that back, we're adding 7 hours this time of year. So that's going to be 8 plus 7, so it's going to be 3 in the morning. What I'm doing is I'm using the red numbers on the inside, and that's where the 3 is coming from. So we'll monitor this for a few days, and if all looks well, then we'll send the watch back to the customer with a fresh band. Pretty easy. Let's do a checklist, shall we? Okay. Cleaned. Check. Change battery. Yes. QC. Yes. We did not see any other repairs. Let me actually check the E6B real quick, make sure that we're rotating in both directions. And we are. I also need to tighten the case back, so I'm going to turn that upside down to remind myself. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode, and hopefully you learned a thing or two about watch repair. And if you want to see any of the watches that we repaired today, they will be in the description below. Also, links to the website, links to the foundation. I have to give a shout out to ABINGDONFoundation.org. There is an internship that the Abingdon Company has posted. We're looking for a watchmaking intern here at the company. So if you go to ABINGDONFoundation.org and you have something in a STEM field, a STEAM field, we include the arts, that you want to post for free. They could be free books that you want to give away or sell. They could be job opportunities, internships like what we're trying to do, and mentorships or college programs, anything related to STEAM. It's free. Just create a user account, post however many ads you want to post, and definitely encourage you to check that out. Otherwise, we will see you on the next video, so join the crew, click that subscribe button below, and make sure you are up to date with all the fun adventures that we go on, and we will see you next time. Bye!